Okay, now I think we're good.
All right.
Yeah, looks like we're up and running. And
Yeah, let me just find this link so I can promote it.
okay,
Um, all right, share, copy link. All right, promote on Discord. Now we'll promote on the this.com. I think we're set.
okay. Yeah, I see it on chess.com and I see a notification for Discord. So there we go.
Yeah,
Awesome.
there we
I'm gonna
go.
open YouTube
All
on my
right.
phone in case I. Oh wait, no, I see chat in OBS this time. Nice.
There we go. What's up, Jesus the King? Hey, there's color. You want to talk about color? Look at this. Look at this.
Or
Like this.
don't look at that. That's atrocious. And
Yeah, you got to avert your eyes. Yeah, you are the
there's some
first
first
one. All
one.
right, we gotta do our intro. Are you ready to do the intro?
Yeah, sure.
All right, three, two, one. Welcome everyone to another episode of Football for Fun. I am Depressed the Texans fan.
I'm delusional, the Panthers fan. Welcome to Football for Fun.
Welcome, welcome. It's been a such a long time no see. Only like 24 hours since we last did an episode. And Isaac, how have you been holding up the past day?
It's been awful. There's been hardly anyone to talk football with for the past 24 hours. So what am I supposed to do?
Well, I feel the same way, just between like work and like family commitments and things like that. Like it is tough. But glad that we could sort of end the day on a positive note. So one just like funny thing is that I was telling you before we kind of went on. Well, you were breaking some news to me. Like you told me that Christian Kirk got traded to Houston, which in 99% of like transactions like that, I would be the first one to know, or I would at least know. But it was weird because like I'm not on social media that much these days. Like I'm still on it, but like basically I deleted it off my phone, but I still have it on my computer. And like so I'm just not on it as much. I saw that he got cut, but I didn't realize that we kind of swooped in with an offer. Um What's funny is that that's the same thing because they cut him, and then we yeah, that's what we're talking about. Kirk to the Texans, right? So they were going to cut him, and then we swooped in with an offer for next year's seventh. That's pretty much what we did with Joe Mixon last year, which is that Joe Mixon was going to be cut by the Bengals, and then we just offered like a sixth or seventh for him, and obviously that's going very well. So just gut initial reaction, I really like the move. I mean, I feel like you can't really go wrong trading like a seventh or someone like Christian Kirk. Now, who knows like the contract situation? I think he got paid like a pretty good amount a couple years ago, so I don't know how much of like the salary we're taking up from him, but you know, kind of like I was telling Isaac earlier, like or like yesterday, is that I don't think we need to go after DK Metcalf or Devonte Adams or like some tier like Chris Godwin or something like that. I think we need like a tier two guy to or tier three, I guess, depending on how you like label him. Just someone a little bit lower, a little bit cheaper that we can just pair with Nico Collins and then use the rest of our resources on like the O line and like maybe defense and stuff like that. I don't know. Any thoughts, Isaac?
No, I agree with most of that. I think the trade for Christian Kirk was really smart by Houston. I mean, it was announced yesterday that he was being released by the Jaguars, which is a move I don't really understand for them. He's been a pretty solid wide receiver too there. He was very solid when he was in Arizona, and I don't know. I like the move for Houston. I think he's going to fit in pretty well in that offense next to Nico Collins as wide receiver too, and that's going to help CJ Stroud a lot for the offense next year. So it's a good move. You're not giving up much. A seventh round pick, and most people don't really care much about those. It's usually for depth. So you mentioned
Right.
the contract situation. I've not heard anything about that, so I don't know how much you guys are paying or how much Jacksonville is going to be paying, if anything. But I don't think it would be too
Yeah.
much. It's going to be reasonable for a wide receiver too that helps your offense. So I like the move a lot. As a Panthers fan, I'm really glad that that should take you guys out of the DK Metcalf sweepstakes or any wide receiver sweepstakes. So that works for me. Like Metcalf all the way to Carolina now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, yeah, you guys can have Metcalf. I mean, if we were to trade for him, like, I guess I'd be excited, but I'd also be like, do we really have to do this? Like, I just feel like, like just having like the best receiving core, and I'm not saying that trading for DK would make us the best receiving, but like having the best receiving core doesn't necessarily mean like much. It feels like the
No.
Dolphins for years have had like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and like I don't know Mike Gesicki, all these like weapons, but they don't really
No,
have
and
like a
you look at the
lot. Like
Chiefs the
they're
past couple years going to the Super Bowls, they didn't really have elite wide receiver weapons. Last year, their best receiver
right.
was Xavier Worthy, I guess.
Probably. Yeah, Xavier Worthy. Yeah. And even a team like the Packers, like they don't have like, their I guess their receiving room's more like young, but
I feel like
they
they
don't
just
have
have
like that
four
true.
wide receiver twos in that room.
That sounds about right. So I don't really see the need to like make a move unless we could somehow like get him for really cheap, which I think is very unlikely. He's
Very
only like
unlikely.
27. Like I know we were talking like maybe the Seahawks aren't getting like the 1 and 3 that they want, but he'll go for like a second or something like that. Like someone's gonna pay him like a pretty good pick, or not pay
Right.
him, but pay a pretty good pick, to
It's
like
not
to
just the
get him.
draft compensation too, because he wants a contract where, well, it wasn't cheap. I don't remember the details, but he was wanting to get paid, and whoever agrees to trade for him is going to have to fork up some money, and that's going to affect their approach in free agency and contract extensions with other players. So that's got to be considered as well. So Houston probably wouldn't want to do that when you have other pressing needs, like as you said, the offensive line would be great.
For sure. If I was a head coach, I'd go after Metcalf for real, totally not because he has some male value to be on console fantasy. Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I think it depends on the head coach. I think there are a lot of head coaches that should go after him, but
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
think my head coach is one of them, but yours probably is. I do think you guys is a little bit different because like,
I don't. Yeah, I don't think
um,
he'd go to Pittsburgh. That would be. I mean, they need receiver help, but I don't know. He seems like a just a better George Pickens, honestly. And they both have they both like to fight people on the field after all. So maybe not.
yeah, there'll be like some legendary like fights, but like between them, like teammate
Yeah, they
fights,
end up
like
fighting each
that.
other. Hail Mary at the end of the game. They're just fighting each other.
Like,
They
no,
should
I
trade
didn't
DK
get
to Pittsburgh.
targeted. Ugh. That's funny.
That'd be
Um,
awesome.
how you guys from he's only 27, so yeah, that's true. I mean, that's like how football works. Like at 27, you still have like gas in the tank. At 32, you're a relic. I mean, that's how it
But
works.
32 for receivers is like you're at the end of your prime at that point. Uh, I
Mhm.
guess 27 is like you're entering your prime, kind of. Which is why a lot of teams should be really intrigued by DK Metcalf. It's possible he goes somewhere and he breaks out, sort of like how Stephon Diggs left Minnesota. And he was always pretty good as a wide receiver, too, behind Adam Thielen. And then he left and he went from, around 1,000 yards every year to, what, 1,400 in Buffalo? I think he got even more than that one
Yeah.
year. We could see something like that with DK in the right situation.
Mm. Yeah. So if we draw the parallels, because like if you think at the time, Josh Allen, he wasn't quite like the top 2 or 3 receiver we know him today. But he was clearly emerging and super talented. Like I
Right.
wonder if there's like a young emerging quarterback like today that he could be paired with. Like, um, you know, before the Debo trade, I would have said like Washington could have made a lot of sense, like with
Bryce
Jaden.
Young has entered the chat.
There
He's
you
young and
go. Yeah,
emerging.
right.
He's been written off just like Josh Allen was being written off. It's perfect. It's the perfect parallel.
What moves do you
That's a good
think Seattle
question.
should take since their wide receiver room is kind of empty? I mean, they have
Do they make
JSN. I think
moves?
they're clear. What's that? Do they make moves? I
Yeah,
mean,
like what you were about to
so
say.
that's a
JSN is there.
yeah. Seattle
So
Seahawks
I think
depth chart.
Who's their wide receiver two? Jake Bobo would be their wide receiver two
Jake
right now.
Bobo,
You know,
the
the meme
goat,
receiver,
yes.
of course.
So they have DK. Obviously, he's gone, or he's probably gone. I mean, you
Presumably he's
never know.
gone.
Jake Bobo, and then some like Jalen Darden, Cody White. So some no name. So they probably do need to get like a third receiver, but I don't know. You can just sign someone off the
They're
streets or
set at wide
draft
receiver
someone.
one. I think they really like JSN. He was a guy I really liked coming out of college. I was hoping that, you know, he'd fall to Carolina somehow, or maybe we'd even trade up to get him. Like yeah, he's
Yeah,
just the latest Ohio State receiver to be great in the NFL. And the wide receiver two is a
yeah.
problem for them. They could be looking in the draft. I think they've got pick 18, so someone like Luther Burden or Matthew Golden for a speed receiver to complement JSN. I think that would be a good move. If you're looking in free agency, I don't know who Seattle would want to pay. If it was about paying a receiver, why not just keep DK Metcalf?
Right. So they probably be, kind of like what we're doing, like kind of looking at that like second or third tier. Playing the free agents. I mean, probably not like Devontae, Stephon Diggs. Whoa, Joey Bosa should not be there. I need to filter it.
Maybe
Safe to
someone
say
like
Joey Bosa.
Darius Slayton. He's the guy kind of going flying under the radar. All these big name receivers. Darius Slayton is a guy leaving the Giants who could prove to be a good wide receiver two or three in any
Yeah,
offense.
so Darius Slayton. So maybe some guys who like I'm trying to think on the little bit of the younger spectrum. So like Darius Slayton, Marquise Brown is a free
Right.
agent.
He would be an
Did he
intriguing
do anything?
pickup. No, he missed
Yeah,
most of the season because of a preseason injury.
I think that is right. Yeah.
I think he
Um,
returned for the
and like
playoffs, and that might have been it.
right. Yeah, I think that's probably right. A lot of these guys are like older. I mean, Deontay Johnson. How about no on that one? But
I don't think anyone should sign
yeah,
him. He should be done.
yeah. I mean, apparently the dude like we won our playoff game against the Chargers, and the guy like threw a fit in the locker room because he didn't get like targets or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
as it
come
turns
on,
out, he
bro.
is a
Like,
locker room cancer. We traded him, and
that's
Bryce
con-
Young broke out. I do not think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine. Of course you want him in Carolina. Yeah, for sure. I mean, of course
Well,
he would
see,
want
that must be in reference to JSN. I mean, I don't want every receiver in Carolina. Like in this upcoming draft, I don't really want Luther Burden. I don't really want. Okay, there are only like three receivers I could think of in the draft. Actually, it's not a very good class this year, but only a couple I would want, and that's just if the board falls our way. The guy out of Arizona, T-Mac, Ted, I don't know how to say his name yet. I haven't had to learn yet. But I really
uh,
want him if we don't have something more important at the time who we need to take. Just depends.
yeah, for sure. Yep. So going into like I know we kind of talked about this yesterday, but like you have Adam Thielen, but probably for like a year.
I
And
would guess
then
he's going
what
to
you have like
retire after this year.
yeah, Mingo.
We traded him to
Um
Dallas for fourth round pick because Jerry Jones is utterly
Oh, wait,
incompetent.
wait. Who's Leggett, who I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
The younger receiver.
So the
Yeah,
funny thing
yeah.
with him is we've basically tried to draft our own DK Metcalf for the past couple years. It was Mingo, and then last year it was Leggett. And these are just kind of
Yeah,
developmental guys, though. They're not expected to immediately contribute. So we bringing in DK would be that's who we've tried to draft, and he could really help Leggett.
right.
The chat's a
Yeah,
little
for
laggy. I
sure.
think there's probably a 15-second delay. I think there usually is. Maybe there wasn't last
Yeah, I
night.
think there does seem to be pretty substantial delay. Yeah, like
I don't know
I
why
think
that
there
would
is. So
suddenly be a thing though if it wasn't doing that last night.
no, I think last night there was a delay as well. I think it's the same all the way
Okay,
through.
I hope so
Um,
because I don't know what would have changed.
Yeah, one other topic, if you don't mind changing topics,
Yeah.
is sort of this question of Trey Hendrickson, who has been
Oh yes.
granted permission to seek a trade. So, as we were talking about before we went live, he's a really good defensive player. Like, one of the best potentially. I mean, like, you obviously have your like Miles Garrett's and like TJ Watts and things like that, but like he's like right below them, I would say. Really productive player, underrated player for the Bengals. He had literally 17 and a half sacks this year and last year. I guess last year and the year before technically. and has posted double-digit sacks 4 out of his last 5 seasons. So he's a really productive player, and any team that's able to trade for him will be better off. So next team, who are we thinking could trade for Trey Hendrickson?
Uh,
And I
I
have the
mean,
next team
probably the
odds. We could
usual
also
suspects. I mean, anyone could use a guy like that, but I don't know
uh-huh.
what he wants. Is he going to go to whoever's going to pay him the most? If it's about staying with a contender, you would think he'd take less to stay in Cincinnati because they could easily be a contender again with that
Right.
offense. So maybe
Oh
teams like
yeah.
the Raiders and Bears are probably going to be high in the odds. I think Atlanta is rumored to
Yeah.
be monitoring the situation. Tampa Bay should be looking into that. Carolina should be looking into that too. We need a defensive end really badly, but I haven't heard anything about that
Yeah, for
yet.
sure. So, right. So CBS Sports, which you never know, it could just be anyone like writing and just like
Right.
throwing teams out. So I'm not saying this means anything, but like, um, so number 5 is the Falcons, which like, I don't know if he'd be going there to win, but I guess it kind of makes sense. Like if they like have the resources and
Depends
like,
on
are
how
willing to.
good Michael Penix turns out to be for their offense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if Michael Penix is good, then that could really be a good outcome. Number 4 is the Colts. I think kind of similar questions where it's like you question the quarterback position, but again, like they could be a possibility. Packers are number 3, Bears are number 2, and then the Commanders are number 1.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I guess
yeah,
that makes
according to
sense.
this article.
I
Let
would
me
say
see what this.
any team rumored to be pursuing Miles Garrett should also be rumored to be pursuing Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, kind of like as a backup plan. Like if I couldn't trade for Miles Garrett, then I'll extend an offer to Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, definitely.
This article says Bears, Commanders, Eagles, Cardinals, Chargers, Jags. Jags. Aren't they like cleaning house? The
I feel like you
Jags.
can put
The
any team on
Jags.
the list. Like who wouldn't want a guy like Trey Hendrickson? Honestly, I mean, you can argue
Yeah.
he's not really a total game changer considering the Bengals defense is the reason they didn't make the playoffs last season. So he was
Right.
not good enough to carry that defense by himself. That kind of speaks to how bad the rest of the defense was. But he's
Yeah. I
obviously
mean,
very, very good.
no, he's productive. Like he's not like the game wrecker that like JJ Watt in his prime was, or like Miles Garrett, or like Aaron Donald, but he's a really productive player. And like if the rest of your, side of the ball sucks, like absolutely sucks, then
What are
like
you gonna do?
there's only so much you can
It's sort of
like
like
yeah,
Miles
you can't
Garrett
like
was in Cleveland and he was great, but that defense wasn't quite
right.
up to standard last year. Wasn't good enough to carry the
Yeah,
team.
you think like TJ. Yeah, no, TJ.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I
another
feel like
one.
I often hear that TJ is overrated, but I think he's pretty dang good, right?
Who is anyone overrated? I feel like he gets underrated just because we keep taking the defensive player of the year away from him because he's already won it a couple times. Like I feel like he could have won it
Yeah,
last year.
yeah. I feel like I saw a random clip of like I think it was Cam Jordan, which people were saying was ironic because he didn't get very many sacks. Was like he was saying something like just because a defensive player gets like a lot of sacks doesn't mean that they're like that impactful. Like they could be weak in other areas, and like all the comments were like he's talking about TJ Watt,
Oh
like
my goodness.
but
Yeah, I'm not
and
a
I'm
fan
I'm
of
not trying to like
Cam
shed
Jordan at
light on
all.
him,
Nope.
but I think he's pretty very good. Like I feel like he's just had some games on the Steelers where he like literally impacted the game. Like especially some of those like
He ended Cam Newton's
games where they
career
didn't.
that one time, so he's definitely has an impact on not just games but organizations. So thank you, TJ
Wait,
Watt.
sorry. What did you say? Who he ended whose career?
Cam Newton. It was after a rough hit from TJ Watt to Cam Newton's shoulder. Like that, after that,
Oh,
he
okay,
was
I didn't
just
know.
he was done. Cam Newton was
I can
done after
imagine
that
that. Yeah,
2018 game.
I mean that's fair enough. Yeah, no, TJ. No, he's a really TJ Watt, JJ Watt. That brother duo
Yeah,
is
they need to
crazy.
start winning before they decide to blow it up and trade TJ Watt to a younger team that's about to contend. So next year's Carolina Panthers.
It wasn't as splashy, but he made a huge impact. Yeah, for sure. I mean, feels like he's always just like one of the best defensive players like in football. So Yeah, no, all that to say, Trey Hendrickson. I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We will. I have no idea where he's gonna go. This is still news. Like, it was announced today he was gonna be on the move, most likely. But I don't know who's gonna get him. Whoever gets him is gonna be pretty happy though.
There's poor Derek. Yeah, poor Derek. Just a fullback in the league, probably still has a net worth of like a million or something more.
Yeah, poor guy makes less money than both of his bros. That's awful. Really.
I know he's kind of a forgotten one. I really feel bad for that like other Kelsey brother. You know, there's a third Kelsey brother.
Oh, is there?
Like no one knows about him.
He's probably doing all right.
Third Kelsey. Oh, I'm sure he is, but yeah, Sean Kelsey. Um, which like, wait, Sean Kelsey's not an actual Kelsey brother. What? I thought. Oh, I wonder if he like. Huh. That's actually weird. Sean Kelsey has said that being the third Kelsey brother can be difficult at times. Oh, did I fall for a lie? Um, I might have fallen for some lie that went viral because
Oh
like
no.
I saw some like clip that like about like the third Kelsey brother and how hard it was for, but I thought like his mom contributed to it. Like, maybe I don't
They're
know.
pranking people.
Let me just ask GBT how. I'm gonna ask how many siblings does Travis Kelsey have? Has one older brother, so he doesn't have another brother. So there isn't a Sean Kelsey. Chat GPT's like, nope, there's no Sean Kelsey, just Travis and Jason. No secret third brother. Okay. So that was misinformation. I apologize to the entire football for fun community for spreading misinformation. There is
Yeah, we're gonna
not
get
a
canceled
third
because
Kelsey
of this. We're
brother.
spreading misinformation to so many people. Look what you've done.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that guy, maybe that Sean Kelsey is like, maybe there's a little bit of an inside deal going on. But if there was, but yeah. Well, that was awkward. I guess there's not a third Kelsey brother, but
No, no, this is for the
um,
content. It's all good.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, poor Derek Watt. But it's okay. I'm sure he's doing good.
Yeah, with
Oh, he's been
all his
retired. Okay,
money. Yeah, now he's relaxing in retirement. He's good.
there
He's
we
fine.
go. There we go. Um, Anything else like news wise we should like look into?
Well, let's see. We covered the Jags implosion, the DK Metcalf stuff, and then Trey Hendrickson. That's basically about
Richard
it.
Kirk, yeah. Hmm.
But, I mean, I guess we didn't dive much into Evan Ingram. What does this mean for the Jags? Like, what are they doing? Why are they releasing some of their most talented pass catchers on offense?
Evan Ingram. I thought he was like really good, like not
He
long
has
ago.
been. I've
Um,
had him as my tight end in fantasy football for the past 3 years, I believe.
um,
But he's just always been very solid and reliable.
I mean, I guess he got hurt last season, but he's been pretty good. Evan Ingram, that could be a name. He'll be 31 when the season starts, so you know,
If I'm Evan
ancient,
Ingram,
a
I'm
relic.
gonna go ring chasing while I can.
His jersey number is probably in hieroglyphics.
Mm,
But
definitely.
you know,
I didn't realize he
right.
was that old, actually.
But right. But he's productive. Yeah, he should be productive and have like a year or two. Like, so maybe some like contending team who's like in need of a tight end, like could throw, like just throw an offer out there. Um, I was never smart enough to start him. I got you. Yeah.
So with Evan
So
Ingram,
funny because
I will say we need a tight end. That's someone I would love to have on the team, and we have a young tight end who is a pass catcher and would love. He'd be great to develop underneath Evan Ingram. So
yeah, for sure.
there are gonna be teams interested for sure. Like this is still a guy who can go out and catch passes and be a chain mover on offense.
Right. I don't think we need him. We have Dalton Schultz. Dalton's only 28. I would have thought he was actually older. He turns 29 like in July.
Yeah, if you if
We have
you guys
Dalton
are gonna
Schultz.
add a tight end, it would be in the draft.
Right. We already have like Brevin Jordan, who's still like, a little younger. Although I guess the guy's been in the league. This will be his fourth year, so at some point, like maybe you gotta like step up. But we have a pretty solid tight end room, I feel like, as it
Yeah.
seems. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jags. I mean, I love to see it. Like, I love to see the downfall of the Jags. The Trevor Lawrence, once this generational prospect, is now just like, eh. I mean, who knows? He could still be good. Maybe he just had a bad like year in a bad organization. But
And they still have Brian Thomas
uh,
Jr. at receiver, and he was fantastic for them last season. So I don't think
oh yeah,
overall
talk
they're
about
worried.
fantasy. Oh, he was on a different fantasy league though. Not necessarily this. He was on a different fantasy. Was he on my team here? I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't think he was. I don't remember. Maybe he's on one
Yeah.
of them. I didn't draft. I avoid rookie receivers in fantasy. I need to stop doing that. It's not been productive. But no,
Yeah.
he's going to be their future receiver. But they don't really have a wide receiver two now since they got rid of Christian Kirk, and I think Josh Reynolds was the wide receiver three that they released. I want to say it was Josh Reynolds, and he's a good wide receiver three to
That
have.
sounds right. So
And then Evan
Jags
Ingram is
depth
one of
chart.
the best pass catchers at tight end in the league. So I don't know what they're doing.
They still have they still have Gabe Davis.
I completely
Apparently,
forgot that he existed.
I forgot he exists too. He's only
he just
25.
he just kind of disappeared after he left Buffalo and went to Jacksonville and had a bad year.
Yeah, I feel like Gabe Davis just always had these like random like playoff moments and like some
Yeah,
like individual games are really good, but then he'd like
he was
disappear
never
at certain point.
consistent enough for what you want in a wide receiver too.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, besides him, like Parker Washington, I would lie if I said I knew anything about him. Tim Jones, David White, yeah, a lot of no names.
So why do you think it is they're
Um,
releasing these guys and they're saving money? So that's got to be a factor. They're saving money, but
yeah,
what is it
I
they're gearing up
mean,
to do?
they're saving money. I mean, I feel like they're just like, it's probably the type of thing to where like they wouldn't say they're rebuilding, they'd say they're reloading, which I feel like a lot of like teams say when, like, yeah, come on, you're rebuilding. It's okay. But like I guess, they're stuck with Trevor's. They're just trying to like, rebuild around him. I don't know how that's gonna go, but like I don't know. I guess so. Like just the rundown. They released Evan Ingram. They traded Christian Kirk. Who else? They released someone else, right?
No one else who's noteworthy, I guess, but I think it was
Just
Josh
like
Reynolds.
other like guys. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess they were trying to release cap room, and they're going to rely on like a bunch of like younger players, rookies potentially to like contribute. And obviously, players like Brian Thomas, they'll be looking to like step up, and we'll see if they'll see if like Trevor Lawrence can like yeah, I don't know. I mean, like doesn't seem like it's going to be a good season for the Jags. Like it's hard. Now watch me say this and it gets like clipped as they after they like win the division or something like that. But
Right.
like I don't really.
No,
It's really
it looks bleak though. If we're being
no.
realistic and
I mean, I
objective,
don't
it
see
looks
how they
bleak
can
right
like
now.
do well. Like they'll probably be better than the Titans because the Titans suck. But
That's
just
going to depend on how
you
they handle the draft, though. I could see the Titans surpassing the Jags very quickly.
you might be right there. But like you love to see it. Yeah, I love this. I love seeing the Jags. Be the same old Jags. The Titans have the one overall pick, and like Mr. Meme at quarterback. The Colts, you always feel in the back of your mind like they could be scary, but also they're rolling out Anthony Richardson. I'm not too worried about him. So,
Yeah, you have to hope he doesn't
um,
take a Josh Allen like leap in year three.
yeah, yeah. Although I don't know if Josh Allen was ever just too tired to, go in a series. So.
There had to be more context to that.
Yeah, and I think it was just something like he said it, and then like he learned from his mistake and just like did so. Yeah, I mean,
I don't
that'll
know.
remain to be seen.
It's still funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
But yeah, the NFC
But
South is looking like it's going to be Houston's to lose once again.
yeah, for
Sorry, the
sure.
AFC South.
Yeah,
I think that's what they
AFC's
meant to
out. No,
say.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
you're not winning that division.
Really, the question, yeah, right. Really, the question is, well, I mean, we gotta win, and I'm not saying it's like some surefire guarantee, but like we
Right.
just gotta like get past like the 4 seed. Like I don't know if we've ever been higher than the
And
four
that
seed.
is such a tough thing to do in a conference where you have the Chiefs and you've got the Bills, and then you have whoever wins the AFC North every year. Which recently it's, I guess it's
Right. Like,
Baltimore the past 2 years. I want to say,
Baltimore, but then like the Bengals could get hot. Like you just never know.
and then the
I mean,
Steelers are seemingly always a
you're
couple
not
moves
counting
away.
the Steelers. Yeah, I mean they are. That's true. I mean, like, yeah, but like, um, yeah, getting the 3 seed would mean we'd have to like have a better record because yeah, Baltimore's always up there. Yeah, Baltimore, Bills, Chiefs. Like,
It's just
I don't know. It feels
pre-decided. The
like
AFC South is the fourth conference of the four, or sorry, the fourth division of the four in the AFC. Whoever wins that
yeah,
division has not been good enough to be on that next
we're
level
always
of the
like
big three.
we're always the little brother of like the contending playoff teams. We'll even like win a playoff game. And it doesn't like matter because like next week we get stomped. But we just need like I don't know, like ideally, and it's really far fetched to say this. We just need to like in order for us to have a chance to like win the Super Bowl like this year or say even like next year, we just have to have the 1 or 2 seed because like we need the majority of the playoffs to go through Houston. Because like we're not gonna travel to like Kansas City or Buffalo in that weather and just like win unless we build some like God squad, as a team, right?
Honestly,
Uh,
if you can just get your offense to the way it was in Stroud's rookie season, and then you have your defense like it was last year, because you guys had a pretty good defense. If you had that together, I think you'd be a real threat this year.
yeah, I'd like to think so. And I think the main, variable would just be is CJ gonna play well or is he gonna continue to like kind of go on that slump? CJ just needs to do less talking, in
Yeah.
my opinion. Like
He
I hate
talked
to admit it
so
as a
much last off season,
I
and it
know
bugged me. Not
I
many
hate
people
to
talked
admit it,
about it, but
but
he was
like
talking a lot.
no, last offseason he talked a lot. Like it was just crazy. Like
It
and
ended up
there are
being the
some
most
stuff.
predictable sophomore slump because of all the talking.
Yeah, for sure. Like there was some stuff like I didn't really mind him saying that like he preferred like Eli Manning over what's his name? Aaron Rodgers. Like people were saying that like oh that's gonna motivate the Jets when they play him, which like I guess ironically he did have one of his worst games that week. But I think it's because our O line sucked, not because they were necessarily motivated. But there was some clip that came out after the wild card loss, not wild card, divisional round loss. He said something like someone saying something about Kyle Hamilton. CJ's like, Kyle Hamilton, who? And then they played the clip of it getting picked off by Kyle Hamilton. So,
That's kind of rough.
I hope he just, yeah, that is rough. I hope he just shuts his mouth, and maybe it's like a learning experience, like a little bit like Baker Mayfield, like. He would talk a lot like his first few years in the league, but then he eventually matured.
Right.
And I think CJ is more mature than Baker Mayfield was then. But honestly, dude, he could learn a thing or two from Baker Mayfield. Like I actually like I feel like like the kind of similar, maybe playing styles, like personalities, but yeah, I do agree. Like he's got just got just shut up and just work. He can even learn from Bryce. Like Bryce Young like doesn't talk and like he got freaking benched and like
Yeah,
yeah.
man, you don't ever hear anything from Bryce.
There you go. My first Texans rant of the year. Hope you enjoyed it.
There you go. I haven't even had a rant of my own. You beat me to it.
There we go. Yep.
Good stuff.
So, yeah. Where are we? How we? Oh yeah, we are talking about the Texans. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm optimistic. I think CJ will sort of like just get his bearings together and like have a better third year. We'll see how we do with the offensive line. I think our receivers, like, again, theoretically, it'd be cool to have like another receiver, but we don't really need that at this point. We can always draft someone as well, and yeah, we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, I think if you make the right moves in the offseason, Stroud should be able to get back to form if he's matured a bit, which I mean, after last season you kind of have to. It was not great. But and he also can't use the playoff game to be like, "Hey, I'm great again," because I feel like y'all won that more because of your defense and Justin Herbert
Oh
steadily
no, yeah, it
imploding.
was it was more. defense. Like, no, I don't think CJ, like, I mean, there is credit being taken, of course, but like, yeah,
Right.
it wasn't, it
But
was
he's
the
got to know
defense. Like
he has
Herbert,
got to be better if they're gonna take the next step.
yeah, for sure. And like, oh, you even felt like that game against Kansas City, like it was close at certain points, and it's like, if CJ was just a little better, a little more focused, like could the outcome have been different? Like,
Right.
yeah.
You didn't put
So
up enough points to win that game, so you need more
right,
from the offense
exactly.
to be able to go all the way. But you win that game, and then you would have played Buffalo in the AFC Championship, and you have already proven that season you can beat Buffalo. So you were that close, really.
Yeah.
You just need the offense to give you
Yeah.
more.
Right. I mean, you never really know, like with the playoff, like in the playoffs. Like like people like ask me. Well, I say that people don't necessarily ask me that, but people will be like, can you win a Super Bowl with CJ Stroud? And like, it's kind of tough to like have to resort to it, but like Joe Flacco and Nick Foles have been hot in the playoffs and won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think CJ could do the same if he has a really good team around him.
I mean, you can
But
always say if
obviously,
those
like
guys have won Super Bowls, who can't, right? Well, there are some names like the
exactly.
great Nathan Peterman could never win a Super Bowl as a starter, but I mean,
Yeah, right. And like, I mean, in their own right, I mean, like, oh yeah, Eli Manning, I guess, is another name you could mention. Eli Manning, not first ballot Hall of Famer. But what do you think of
I'm
that,
not
by the
sure
way?
he
That
would even be a Hall of Famer without the Super Bowl rings. If I hate to say it, I don't
no,
think he has the
I
stats
think you
for it.
are right. I think it is like if you were to put him in the Hall of Fame, it's because of the two Super Bowls. And like, yeah, I think I would go on to say like he's definitely not a Hall of Famer. Like I think he was a pretty good quarterback. Like maybe not like consistently top five or anything like that, but I think he
Yeah,
was a little bit better than he was given credit for. I think it also ended rough in New York, which could like, kind of leave a stain on things. But I guess, I'm not really like outraged one way or the other. Like I don't really care, but
yeah. If he
I
doesn't
would
get
have
in, I get it. If he does get in, I also get it. So it's like he's like right in the middle, you know?
yeah, I mean like I probably would put him in like if it were all up to me, I probably would put him in because of the Super Bowls, but
Yeah.
I also understand like it's the Hall of Fame. It's not the Hall of like, pretty good career. Like I understand both
It
sides.
should be exclusive. But speaking of the Hall of Fame, I do want your take on Luke Kuechly because I'm biased, but I think he should have absolutely
Mhm.
been a first ballot Hall of Famer. And there are other people who were first ballot this year who I look at the stats and I go, how did you get in, but Luke was left out? I could not really understand it, but maybe it's just because he played for a
Yeah.
small market Carolina. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, he was like so like he like just retired early, right? It was just an
He
unfortunate
did.
situation.
It was basically
Yeah,
just
I
like
mean,
Andrew Luck, except Andrew Luck had worse injury
right,
issues, I
just like
believe.
be a linebacker equivalent. I mean, yeah, from what I heard, like I mean, he was like, like yeah, I thought he was like really good and like, now like, first ballot, I wouldn't be the most qualified to sort of like, give an opinion, but he clearly made an impact in Carolina. I feel like there are definitely some games where like he just like took over the game for sure. I am honestly kind of speaking out, like, just I honestly couldn't like give you a super
Yeah.
qualified answer, but if you think so and you're not delusional, then I probably agree with you.
I mean, I try to look
And
at
he
things
does feel like
objectively with these types of things, but I also know that try as I might, I do fail at it sometimes. So I don't know.
yeah, no, I get that. He was like he was from 2012 to 19, so that's 8 years. So he retired when he was like what 20 26 or
I think
27?
a little older than that. I think he was 28.
28. Yeah, that's still unfortunate though, because you feel like you have like several more
Yeah, I
good
remember
years of your
seeing
prime.
that the news that he had retired, and I could not believe it. That shook me, even more than
I
when I
bet.
was. Everyone was stunned when Andrew Luck retired. Even like non Colts fans
Right.
were stunned. But for me, that was me with Luke Kuechly. Like I could not believe that. It just made no sense at all.
Yeah, right. No, there was a funny story about how I found out that like Andrew Luck retired because like I was like picking up my sister from like a birthday party and like this was like I had like just started driving, so like I was like very careful to like not like text and drive and things like that. So like I'm like waiting for her, whatever, and then I'm starting to get these texts like Andrew Luck retired, and like I thought they were jokes. And so like one of them was like my friend, like kind of my childhood friend who like texted me, and then like I start driving, and I'm like telling my sister, I'm like, yo, can you like confirm this for me? Like, can you text him? Like, is this actually true? And like it was, and then I'm like, I think it was like me through her sort of asked, like, I was like, well, why did he retire? Like, what happened? And my friend said something like how he like got like hurt and was like tired and things like that. And I think I said like, wow, that sounds lazy. And then like my friend was like, well, if you had like a bunch of surgeries, then you probably would feel the same way.
I
Like,
mean, behind that
okay, fair
offensive
enough.
line, it made sense. I hate to say it.
No, yeah, it made sense. I was still shook. I was like, "Yo, what?" It was the type of
Yeah,
thing to where it was like, it was kind of weird because it's like you're almost happy that he retired and you don't have to worry because like the Colts were gonna be a real threat. Like if
yeah,
Andrew Luck had like played more, like they could have been like
yeah.
like
And they fixed their
legit.
offensive
Like
line after
like
that too. Like he would no longer have had the issues just a couple years later.
yeah, for sure. No, they were gonna be really good. So one part of me was like, yay, he retired, wouldn't have to worry about him. But the other side, obviously, you feel bad for the guy. He's like a really good guy, and it's just
My
like,
perspective, I was
honestly,
distraught. I was distraught when he retired because I
yeah.
loved Andrew Luck. I don't remember why, but he was just. I had his jersey at the Christmas that my parents bought me my Cam Newton jersey because he was my favorite player on my favorite team. They also got me an Andrew Luck jersey because he was my favorite player at all. I don't
Oh, that's
remember
cool. Yeah,
what it was about him, but he was my favorite player, and I was distraught that he
yeah,
retired. And it was just
yeah.
it made sense though.
It's
But I can
yeah,
speak now. I wonder why he didn't want to just request a release or a trade to a team with a good offensive line. Maybe then
yeah.
I don't
It
know.
probably kind of feels like he probably feels like, he's like a really good guy and probably didn't feel like that combined with he had made bank, like, he made like a lot of money already. But I do agree, and I'll say this, like, as a Texans fan, it does sound weird, like, especially if he had stayed with the Colts, but I do, like, wish he had, like, stayed playing and, like, it would have
With
been,
his
like, a cool
talent, he could
story.
have
Like
had a
like
legendary career. He really could have.
I know, for real. He would have been like up there, like how old is he now? He's probably like mid 30s. I mean, he'd still be like,
Yeah, he could still be playing today.
he's 35. No, he would still be like you'd be talking about like Hall of Fame discussion with him. Like he'd be like now, I mean, of course, if we had to deal with him in the division, like I don't know how I'd feel about that, but
They would
that's
be the ones
fine.
winning the
You know,
division probably. Just if we're being real, with a talent like that, they probably would
yeah,
have figured it
and
out.
we just get the 5 or 6 seed and get
Oh
bounced. I mean,
man,
that's
Stroud versus
okay. I
Luck
mean,
would
it's
have
not
been
much better than
amazing
what's
though.
currently happening.
But yeah,
Right. But it is just one of the greater like what ifs. I mean, you can even say similar. Like now I know it's like different 'cause he wasn't very like good consistently, but like if only RG3 had
oh yeah.
sustained like his level of play, that could have been like really like could have been really
Well, we're seeing
interesting.
what would have
I
happened
know like
now because that's Jaden Daniels. I mean, they're very similar players.
I think yeah, I was thinking about that for a split second. I feel like because of his playing style, his career probably would have been shorter. Um, so it probably would have
Yeah,
been something to where like they drafted. Well, they wouldn't have drafted Jaden Daniels because like they probably wouldn't have the two
probably not.
pick. Although you know,
Things probably would
it's
have
also the right.
changed over the years.
Yeah,
They
you
would
you
have
never
stuck it out with Kirk Cousins for a few years, and then he would have gone
right
elsewhere, and they
exactly.
would have had a different quarterback in the 2015 through 2019 ish, until he went to Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
It would have
Right.
changed
Yeah,
things
for
for sure.
sure. Oh yeah, I mean it's the butterfly effect. Like if one thing happens, then like everything else changes.
Yeah,
It is weird sometimes to think just philosophically that like we're living in like one of like billions of possible like I don't know lives outcomes like it's so weird to think about but anyway
this is
neither here
every
nor there.
decision ever made branches off into all these different possibilities and realities.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay,
Yep.
back to football.
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
Um, yeah, so all right, been fun, but I am a night owl like y'all and I'm going to bed. All right, fair enough. Well,
that is very
have a
fair,
good night.
unfortunately.
Sweet have sweet dreams about the Steelers winning like 6 or 7 more Super Bowls. And yeah, no, I think we revived it for sure. We'll see how the consistency is and like hopefully we can expand a little bit, but no, we're definitely back. We're so back.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us for 45 or so minutes. Good night to you. Take care.
Yeah, good night. All
Okay.
right.
Once she leaves, we can
Anything
talk about
else
the
you want to discuss?
Steelers.
Yeah, right.
The
The
Steelers are
Steelers,
terrible.
really.
No, I'm
I
kidding.
know.
I'm kidding.
They always go
Okay.
9-8. They're a 9-8 purgatory.
They need to trade all their good players to teams like Houston and Carolina.
Yeah, right. Should trade TJ Watt to Houston because why not? It's Watt.
Yeah, and
I mean,
whoever else is good on their defense can come to Carolina.
yeah, there you go.
I'll pass on George Pickens. You can have him. I don't want his
Oh well,
problems. I didn't even want him
he
coming
can
out of
go. To,
college as a Georgia fan.
he can go. Yeah, he can go to the Jags or something like that. We'll kind of like you gave us Christian Kirk. We'll give you George Pickens if you want.
Yeah, for free too.
But
It's a
yeah,
gift to the
and
Jags.
then what we could should bring like CJ Stroud's former Ohio State teammate Justin Fields as his backup.
There you go. You got something there.
Probably the most unnecessary move you could make, but that would be interesting. Like,
Yeah, no kidding.
but yeah,
Okay, so where were we before all the what ifs? Although, as a side note, NFL what if does sound really fascinating. If no one has made any content like that yet, we should get on that.
yeah, for sure. Like one thing I thought about is top like head coaching quarterback combinations that never happened.
Mm.
Um, I'm thinking like same era, so I'm not saying like, what if Patrick Mahomes was paired with like Vince Lombardi or something like that.
What if the
But
Bears
just,
drafted
like
Patrick Mahomes?
yeah, right, exactly. There's that too. But you know, one that I find really interesting is like what if Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick were together?
Oh man,
Cuz like yeah, I don't know. Because on the one hand, there are two sides of that spectrum. On the one hand, you kind of feel like Rodgers, in a lot of ways, was like more talented than Tom Brady, and there's like a lot of like physical stuff he could do. But on the other hand, you just don't know if Bill Belichick would be able to like deal with that personality, so it could be a disaster.
that would be really
But
fun to watch
yeah,
though. I feel like most of these with Aaron Rodgers would be really interesting though. Like which head coaches could handle Aaron Rodgers?
right, yeah. I mean, somehow like Mike McCarthy did it, which is actually kind of crazy. Well, not I guess not necessarily crazy, but like
I
it
know
was
for,
Mike
regarding
McCarthy for most
Mike
of his
McCarthy, I
career.
want to take back any comments where I said he's overrated. I think he's appropriately rated. We all know what he is. He's a good coach who is not going to win a Super Bowl for the Cowboys. So, or
Yeah, I
would never. I
mean,
guess he's gone now. So
right. I mean, he has won a Super Bowl, granted, like what, 15 years ago or something, and but no, he's recently had some good seasons, but maybe not, good enough. Like he's clearly not, Andy Reid or Harbaugh, John, Jim. I mean, John. Well, he's not as
either
good as
one,
Jim
really.
Harbaugh
They're
either. But
both
I
pretty
mean,
good coaches.
yeah, right. He's not like even like Kyle Shanahan or something. I'd say,
Yeah,
but like,
he's he's just not he's not
he's pretty
great.
good.
He's just good.
Yeah, he's
And
good.
I think we gotta be careful with those terms. Like, I don't think calling him a bad coach seems right. Like, I think he's proven he's a good coach. If he was bad, the Cowboys would have had losing seasons for years because they're the Cowboys.
Oh no, yeah, and like honestly, I mean, he's not. He doesn't have a team, right? It would. I think there was rumors about him going to the Saints, but that's.
I think
I
he
guess
was
that's
the
not
odd man out.
happening.
Yeah, because Kellen Moore was the one unfortunate enough to go to the Saints. So
Yeah, poor guy. Yep. I don't know. Are there any like what if scenarios just in any realm that you think about? for the
While we
NFL.
were talking about Andrew Luck, I was thinking a little about Todd Gurley. As a Georgia fan, he was the running back starting at Georgia when I became a fan. I believe it was him, and I think Nick Chubb and Sony Michelle were the backups. That
Uh,
was probably the
oh,
greatest
Nick
running back
Chubb.
room I've still
Wait,
ever
Nick
seen.
Chubb was a backup to Todd Gurley in Georgia.
I'm pretty sure that he and Sony Michelle were freshmen in one of the years where Todd
Wow,
Gurley was there. Because in their,
I
their
did not
last
know.
year at Georgia, it was the 2017 season. So it was one of the early seasons, I think the
Huh.
2013 season, I believe. Todd Gurley's last year there, and then that was their first season there. So I'm pretty sure they were all in the same room at a certain point in time, and it was just, looking back, that's got to
Who was
be
the other guy?
one
You
of the
said
best running back.
Gurley, Chubb, and Sony Michelle.
Sony Michelle. He's been less successful in the NFL in terms of stats, but he
Right,
did win
yeah.
a Super Bowl.
That's still. Did Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, and Sony Michelle play together in Georgia?
I hope I'm not wrong about this.
Um,
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty
no,
sure
they
that
were all.
2013 season.
Oh, you're right. There was overlap. Wait. Yeah, Todd Gurley was at Georgia from 12 to 14. Nick Chubb was a freshman in 14, and Sony Michelle was there from 14 to 17. So no, 2014. That was the running back room. That's actually crazy.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised
that's
I
got to be
did.
the
I didn't
greatest running
realize.
back room I've ever seen at college level. Like, just so much talent there.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like hear about like those Ohio State receiving rooms, how it was like like well maybe I'm thinking well there's LSU, but like there's
Either
some
one.
room that was crazy. Like Marvin Harrison was like the fourth receiver or something like that. Like
Oh man,
was
Chris
it
Olave,
was it
Garrett
Garrett
Wilson,
Wilson, Olave
JSN.
Wilson, and then Marvin, right?
Amazingly, yeah, Chris Olave might end up being the worst receiver of those four. That's kind of amazing,
That's actually nuts. Yeah.
and
Um,
that's just because he's in New
right. But
Orleans.
that's actually just an underrated like fact. Like that Nick Chubb and Todd Gurley and Sony Michelle were on the same team. And of
Man,
course you have the Alabama one with like Mac
2020 Bama
Jones to
especially.
yeah. Yep.
Oh man, and there was let's see, 2019 LSU. That's probably the greatest college football team of all time, in my opinion. I know I can't speak as much about the older teams because I didn't grow up watching that because I was well born.
Right.
But from what I've seen, like with
Yeah.
that offense and what they've done in the NFL, I really think that is probably the greatest college football team of all time. I would pick them straight up against anyone.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Um that does kind of remind me and like not that there's really a point discussing it because it's probably never going to happen, but like I kind of wonder like what would happen if like 2019 LSU played like one of the worst NFL teams in like recent memory, like some of those Cleveland Browns teams. Like I
The
always
0 and
want
16
like
Browns.
yeah like that team. Like I wonder what would happen in that game.
That would be the one scenario where I would entertain the idea of it being a close game. I think Cleveland,
Yeah,
the
for
NFL
sure.
team's going to win because they're. I mean, these are all guys who were great in college who made it to the NFL, and some of them were actually really, really good. I don't know anyone off the top of my head on that Cleveland team who was good, but I'm sure there were some talented players. Like, they're just
Yeah,
bigger,
I
better,
think yeah,
stronger, faster.
yeah, I was actually like, because I was weirdly obsessed with like that. Well, not obsessed, but like I think it was it the 2016 Cleveland Browns?
I think so.
There were some players who were like rookies that I was like, wow, I didn't realize you were on that team. Poor guy. Let me
Oh
see.
man,
Oh, that was 1-15. 0-16 was let's see who was on that roster. The quarterbacks were Kevin Hogan, Cody Kessler, and Deshaun Kaiser. Running backs were Isaiah
yikes!
Crowell, Duke Johnson, Sammy Coates, Corey Coleman, Josh Gordon, Corey Coleman and Josh Gordon,
Josh
Baylor
Gordon.
legends who didn't really work out. Yeah,
That's a name I've not heard in a while. He was a really good receiver in the NFL.
I know. Oh yeah, David Njoku, who's like decent.
Yeah,
He's decent,
he's
right? He's like
yeah, he
he's
was
still
definitely
on
a
the
top
yeah,
top
he's
10 tight end in the league for Cleveland today. Yes, he's a good tight end.
yeah, David Njoku, he was a rookie. Um there was some other name I recognized. Miles Garrett was a rookie. Oh, I didn't. That
Oh
is
man,
right.
yeah, because they had to be that bad to
Um
draft him.
Carl Nassib is a name that we recognize for certain reasons.
Oh yes, I remember.
Jason Voorhees,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, no, that's just like I guess they didn't really have. I guess a lot of their like better talented players were like younger, and it's just like yeah, when the rest of your team sucks, it's just like
My take on that, if that Cleveland team plays the 2019 LSU team, I think Cleveland's going to score enough points to win, at least. I know Deshaun Kaiser
I
would have been
think
their
so.
starter, and he was awful in the NFL, but he
Yeah,
was really. I remember him being so good at Notre Dame in college that he was talked about as a top draft prospect in the NFL draft.
right.
So I don't know what happened to his
Yeah, for
NFL
sure.
career, but he was really good in college. They would score points on the LSU defense. They were good, and they were good at making plays, but not good enough. It's the
I
offense
think
that won the
yeah,
games.
I think another fact. Yeah, I think another factor you could consider, which I heard someone say, I actually thought was a really good point, is like when like does this game happen? Because if this game happens like before the season starts, then all the Cleveland players are healthy and they probably destroy them. If it's like
True.
later, like after the season, a lot of those guys are probably hurt or like injured, dealing with injuries. So like that could play an effect.
But that would
Um,
also go both ways for LSU too.
I think it's different because the LSU players are younger, whereas the
This is
NFL
true.
players are more likely. It's gonna have a bigger impact on the NFL
This
players.
might be a silly thing to say, but I feel like because of the strength and training and everything for the NFL players, it would be a lot easier for them to, have a really good hit or tackle onto the college players who have had less experience in training and conditioning over the years. So they take one hit and they're already a little hurt, and that makes it so much worse, and they don't come
Yeah,
back
I
into the
mean,
game.
you're probably right. I mean, that's probably one of the many reasons why it's just worst NFL team by a landslide. But
You would think
I
it
always
should be.
want, yeah, I always want to just see that, just so that people like shut up. Like, I want to see like who won the Natty. Oh, it was wait, who won the Natty?
It
I'm
was
like
Ohio
blanking
State
on.
this year.
Okay, so like
So Ohio State
Ohio
against the
State versus
Titans.
that. I mean, Titans would
Uh,
smoke them, right?
yeah. Ohio State's not
Yeah,
scoring on the Titans' defense.
right. I always just want to like see that like happen. Now it would be difficult to incentivize the NFL players to do it. Like you'd have to like pay them a lot of money or something. But like it
Just
just
give
there's
all
just
the
like a
players a
one
bonus for
time,
doing it.
yeah, just one time exhibition game just to like prove everyone wrong. Honestly, like if I'm on one of those horrible teams, like am I not like a little bit motivated? Like
I'd be
I don't know, maybe
motivated. I
maybe
don't
they're
want to
not.
lose to a college team. Oh
Well,
man.
I know. I'm saying just like show up for the game. Like I don't. I'd want to like make history. I'd want to win that game like 100 to like 3.
Yeah.
Maybe not
I
3. Maybe
mean,
that's a little bit out there. But
as a
like
viewer, I would pay good money to watch that exhibition game to make that happen.
oh, me too.
If we
Yeah,
have
that
to
would be
sign a
that.
petition and put forth money, I would do it. Let's do that. I'm
That's
serious.
I think that's football for fun's calling is to make that happen.
Yeah, we need to
I
reach
mean,
Tom Grossi
someone's
and
got
make
to
him
go.
make it happen.
I know someone's got to be viral, go viral, and just like make that their entire life's mission. Like it'll be worth it. Like I know you have like other content to like think about, but if that's your life's mission, then like just we're here for it. And then
Do it for the views,
we'll
because
make fun.
everyone would watch. I mean, who wouldn't be interested to see how it goes? I guess
No, that actually
maybe a
would
lot of people turn the
confuse.
game
Like
off.
I'm not even joking. Like especially if it's like like maybe like I guess you wouldn't know like when to put it. Like it's like the week after the regulars. Well, that would be playoffs though, which could be tricky. But like
Just
you
do
put it
do a
on
spring
like the
game.
Friday.
Do a spring game. That's when well, it
Mm,
could be before like all the draft festivities, like, before the combine. It could be during the combine. That could be a good way for some of the players
yeah,
to show
like
off.
something like
You win
March
the
1st
national
or something like that.
championship,
Because
you
that
get
could
to play in
also
this game, and it's a chance to show off in an NFL game.
yeah, and it's kind of like it'll be like those college players like kind of last chance to, like get together like for some of the seniors and stuff. 'Cause I know
Yeah,
like when the seniors like they throw in like their pro days like it's always like really cool for them to like get together and then like the NFL team just like just right. So
yeah.
I mean yeah I don't know like unfortunately it'll probably never happen in human history but gosh it should like
Maybe they could do it like really toned down, like the Pro Bowl game, flag football type. It would be lame, but also
right.
I'm guessing a concern would be injuries, because as we've previously said, NFL players are much stronger and faster, or they're supposed to be. because of the years of training and conditioning. So you would be more concerned about injuries for the college players. And I don't know, if you want to try to avoid that, you could change the rules a little bit, make it like I really don't want it to be flag football. I think the Pro Bowl is a joke, but if that's what gets us this type of game, at least it's better than nothing.
Yeah. College football team exit. Sorry, I'm typing up something. I'm asking ChatGPT if there's ever been an attempt for a worse NFL team versus a best college football team. I don't think there's ever really been an attempt recently, but there's
Maybe
never
in the
been an
past.
official game. The idea has been debated. Historical precedents. There was a college All Stars versus NFL champions 1934 to 76. Where a team of college All Stars played the defending NFL champions. Well, that wouldn't go well. Like the NFL champions would just smoke them.
Yeah, that's kind
The
of
NFL team
ridiculous.
won 31 of 42 games. What? So wait, so you're saying the college All Stars beat? Oh yeah, well this was the 1930s. I don't even know like what to make of that. Um,
And that's a team of the best college players who are all going to go to the NFL. So basically, NFL players.
right. I guess so. Browns versus Miami Hurricanes 1987. The Miami Hurricanes won the national championship in 87, and then Browns coach Marty Schottenheimer was asked how they'd fare against his 5'11 team. His response, "We'd probably win by 30 or 40 points. The talent gap was just too large." Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Why it won't happen? Player maturity and development. NFL players are bigger, faster, and more experienced. But see, you gotta prove it. You gotta prove it on the field. Injury risk. That injury risk is like that's a fair concern. And then money and NCAA, yeah, whatever. Most experts believe the worst NFL team would win comfortably by 30 plus points. Even teams like the '08 Lions or the '17 Browns would be too physical and skilled for a college team to handle. The trenches would be the big difference. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, you would think. You would think.
Right. It's just fun to think about, but probably never gonna happen.
Unfortunately, but maybe someday they'll make an attempt again because why not? Uh, Also,
Yep,
but
because
with
why
college
not?
football changing so much, I doubt we ever have another team that's just that good again. Some people
Uh-huh.
are going to try to say Ohio State last year was just that good. They also lost two games they shouldn't have lost. So I really don't like the
Right.
debates that they're one of the greatest teams of all time. It seems silly when they lost to 7-5 or 8-5 Michigan.
Yeah,
Um,
they lost to Michigan. That was just like, yeah.
Yeah, and I get that
Yeah,
that's a
I don't
rivalry, and I was one of the few who was telling people to relax. It's a rivalry game. It's not like they're no longer
right.
championship
Because
contenders.
like
But
people were calling for like Ryan Day's job and then
yeah,
like he goes and wins a natty. So it's like
that rivalry is
gotta be
just
one of
that
the
that intense. Like I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised if
for
they
sure.
fired him next year if they lose to Michigan again. I really wouldn't, just because they care that much.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair enough. Yeah. I'm sure that there's gonna be a lot of pressure like this year for that game.
Oh,
On
probably.
Ryan Day.
I don't think there's
Yeah,
enough
that'll be a
pressure on him
huge
this year just because Michigan was having a down year and it was just expected they would win.
right. Yeah. No, yeah, I think it was expected, and then like they won, and it's like, well,
Yeah, there's our most baffling result of the year. It's not supposed to
yeah,
happen.
for sure.
But
Yeah.
anyway, that's that's just a whole different thing. Like this year's Ohio State team, I don't think they would beat any NFL teams for sure. That's out of the question, in my opinion.
Probably not. No, especially like, yeah, because you felt like this crop of like NFL like there's rarely like an 0-16 Cleveland Browns or Detroit Lions teams. Like even some of those horrible Houston teams, like they were like we had like dudes.
You always had
But
DeAndre Hopkins on the team when you were bad.
well, I'm saying like after. I'm saying like the David Coley and Lovey Smith years.
Oh
Was
yeah,
Yeah, so like 2020 to 2020, I guess that would be two. So that 3 year stretch was like it probably was one of the worst 3 year stretches of a team like ever. I did look it up. The Browns had a worse stretch from like whatever 15 to 17
16
or
and
whatever,
17
but
was definitely the worst 2 year stretch.
right for sure. But like yeah, I think in like 21, there was some year. It was 21 where we were horrible, but then we destroyed the Chargers because Rex Burkhead had like a career game. And
Why
then
not?
like we still beat up on the Jags because it's fun.
So that's a good
We
example of the Rex
almost
Burkhead. If an NFL veteran can randomly just have a great game against an NFL team, you would think that these kind of guys would have career games against the college teams that they would play in these exhibition matches.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, yeah, Rex Burkhead. I mean, he was like, yeah, 30 or something like. Yeah, he had a really good game. I'm actually trying to see. Yeah, he finished. Yeah, he had 149 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns in the 41-29 victory. I
There you
think that
go.
was one of the games that contributed like Brandon Staley's downfall because it's like you're like an ascending team. You can't beat us. Like that's actually ridiculous. Um, but yeah. I was gonna say something else about us, I guess, but I don't know. But yeah, there were some individual games where oh yeah, we almost beat the Patriots with David Culley, which was
Yeah,
kind
it's like
of
so you guys were having a
crazy.
terrible stretch, but you always had good games against good teams. There you had
Yeah,
some good games against good teams.
we had good individual games, but yeah, for the most part, there were the horrible games. Like I remember there was like a game against the Bills where Davis Mills threw like 5 picks or
Ugh.
something. Just like a lot of pretty bad games. Honestly, I'm gonna 2021 Houston Texans. I'm definitely not just like reliving all this. But although at a certain point I just kind of tuned out. I was just like, I don't really so that was funny because like in week one we won, so it was like I think everyone else in our division lost, so we were like leading the division after week one. This was in 2021. This was after, or no, Deshaun Watson was benched. Remember there was that one year where he just didn't play because he had like requested a trade, but then like all the lawsuits came out. So we just like he was just on the roster. He just wasn't playing any
That
games.
yeah, good times, good times.
Yeah, I think we lost to the Cardinals 5-31. Yeah, there was a game. There's this game against the Rams. I guess it isn't that close, but 22-38. Most of these losses are actually pretty bad though. The 2022, did we have any like? Yeah, 2022 we tied week one. That was funny. Oh yeah,
Oh,
you
that was the
did have
Colts
the
game.
fateful. Yes, you had that fateful Colts game where like the it was the game winning drive and 2 point conversion, which I guess like somehow worked out. But I don't know. I think the Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud debate is like
I don't think we
could
can
be a
have that debate
thing.
yet. I mean, they've
I
had
guess
opposite
not,
careers so
but
far, right? Well, not complete opposite, but I'm just
what
mean Bryce Young
I'm saying
started
like
so poorly
trajectory
and went
wise,
up.
like it feels like
Yeah,
Bryce Young going up, CJ kind of down.
that
I don't
yeah,
know.
that's
Maybe
what
I'm
I'm
just
saying.
kind of pessimistic.
They've had
Yeah,
opposite trajectories
right,
the past couple years. Right now, Stroud is still better.
right.
I would assume,
Yeah, I would
but
say so too. But it's
I would
like
also say
it's
next
not a
year they
lot.
should be around the same level. I mean,
Yeah.
but Bryce
Sorry,
also has more trajectory.
I thought you were saying earlier that we shouldn't have that debate, implying that like CJ's like way better. And I'm like, no,
Oh no,
that's
I
not the
just mean it's
case.
so early that there's not really a debate to be had. Like
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, yeah,
if
we're
we were to
still a long way to
redraft,
go.
I don't know that I wouldn't want to redo Carolina's pick. I would still go with Bryce. And now if it doesn't work, we get
Yeah,
to go draft someone in 2026 and I'm okay with that.
right.
Um if it does work,
Arch
then I'm
Manning,
no
right.
longer going to be surprised cuz he was really good at the end of last season. Um but I
No,
just
at
think
this point,
overall
he's
there's
your
not enough
guy.
for me to say we should have drafted Stroud and I don't think you guys would have enough to say we should have drafted Bryce. I mean,
I agree. I mean, I think just each individual team just made their own pick, and it's like yeah, it's just it's all good. I would probably agree CJ is a little bit better, but at the same time, like, because the narrative, like, a year ago at this time was like, like like the conversation was over, and it's like it's only been 1 year. I'm sure I contribute to the trash. Like, I'm sure I said
oh yeah,
stuff,
I'm
but
sure. And I
looking
was
back,
nice
like it,
about Bryce until I think it was week 1 against the Saints. I mean, the game was so bad, but even I had given up, and it was pinned in our Discord server. Like I'm not one to give up on a young quarterback, but it was just he somehow got worse. He got worse after year 1, and I'm
yeah,
just there's no way this gets better. And then miraculously it did. So it's weird.
I know, yeah. I mean,
Sometimes it's
it'll be
silly to have the
interesting.
discussions too soon. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Like, I mean, not to like speak this, but there is, you never know. Like, he could like be bad again, or he could be really good. Like, you
Oh, believe
honestly, I
me,
feel
I
like
am
you just
ready for
don't know.
both possibilities. I'm mentally prepared to endure
Yeah,
another 2-15 season.
yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I wouldn't say the same thing for myself, but
Oh
well,
no, you
honestly, at
you
this
should
point,
be
like, he was
beyond that by now.
we would be the team to like be on a trajectory and then just have like a 2-14 season that literally happened like a decade ago or a little over
Deshaun
a decade
Watson
ago.
Deshaun
Like,
Watson brought all the wrong things onto your organization, so you had that rough 3-year stretch too. After several good seasons with
I,
Watson,
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, no, exciting things to come for sure. I think Bryce will be decent. Like I don't know if he'll be like top 10 necessarily, but like I think he'll have a solid like
I
like
would say,
Tua. And I know Tua
yeah,
crapped on a lot, but he's been solid like throughout his career.
I think Bryce, at the very least, is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't think
Yeah,
he's gonna have to
sure.
resort to being a backup. I guess at the very worst, he could be a high level backup. Think Teddy Bridgewater type of quarterback who can go in when necessary and have a solid game. Um, and I say that because we didn't see big statistical performances from Bryce last year. I don't think he had many games with more than 250 yards, but he did what he had to
Yeah.
do. Like he was a accurate game manager and very very clutch. So you give the guys some more receivers, who knows, You give him a defense that isn't
Yeah.
historically one of the worst in the league. I think we actually set the record for most points allowed in a season, which I will say I'm okay
Really?
with because it's a 17 game record and in 16 games it was fine. But anyway, the defense
Yeah.
was that bad that it makes it really tough to know how good was the offense really, having to always be in a deficit and never sometimes not get a chance to establish the run, and it changes things. It really does. It's sort of like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I was
for
saying the
sure.
opposite, or 3 years ago. We had an offense toward the end of the season, but the defense just could not get off the field. Or maybe it was a reverse at one point. The defense was always on the field because the offense was so bad. That's what I mean. The offense was so bad,
Right.
the defense couldn't
Yeah.
get off the field. And it's like, how good is the defense? And
Yeah.
if you could just put it all together, what do you have on the field? Do you have a full team, or do you have the 2-15 Carolina Panthers? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And like I remember there are some like Texans teams where it's like one year we had like a really good defense and the next year we had a really good offense. Like I remember and we're kind of saying that even like earlier like for this year. Like if you could take like our offensive output from last year, year before, like 2023 and our defensive output from this year, like it could be really good cuz like there
No,
was
I think
like,
I think you're Super Bowl
20
contenders when you merge those two together.
yeah, cuz like 2016, I think like people forget. Well, we're kind of irrelevant then, but like in 2016, that was the year we had like Brock Osweiler as our quarterback.
Hmm.
And obviously he held our offense back. But um, we had the top defense in terms of like yards, which I don't know how much that means compared to like points, but we had one of the best defenses in the league without JJ Watt. Because that was when like Jadeveon Clowney was coming on his own. We had like Whitney Merciless, Kareem Jackson. What's that corner's name? Who was on Cincinnati? Like John. Wait, we had a really good corner. I can't believe I'm blanking on the guy's
The only
name.
Cincinnati corner that comes to mind for me at all is Eli Apple. So that's just because of
Yeah,
leagues.
definitely not him.
He's not even there anymore.
Uh, wait. My gosh, I'm blank. Wait, like, let me actually try to think. He was a really good corner. He was on the Bengals, and then he joined us, and he was good. I want to say, I'm trying to say Jonathan. Like, I'll look it up, but like,
Yeah, I
uh,
don't I don't know who it would
Jo-
be.
it's there's definitely a J. It's like Jonathan, John. Let me see. I think like 2012 Houston Tech. I think he was on that team. Uh, uh, Jonathan Joseph. That's who I was thinking
Okay.
about. Um, he was. I guess he was all right. He was a two-time Pro Bowler. He was. Oh yeah, he was on that team. Yeah, Kareem. So yeah, I was just naming like Kareem Jackson. So we had some really good players, but then like 2017, our defense isn't that good. But our offense, when Deshaun Watson was a rookie, before he got hurt, was explosive.
Yeah.
So like, you just wonder if you take
It's just
that
why can't you
year
have it all at
earlier
the same time?
defensive and then the 2017 offense, like before he got hurt, like obviously I think like Deshaun didn't play it as it could, but you
Right.
never know. You just gotta have like both units good on the field, I guess, at the same time,
That's what it
ideally.
takes to have a contending team. It seems like. I mean, that's what all the best teams, all the Super Bowl winning teams, seem to be. They get it all together, and then you have the bad teams. They have talent on one side, and then the other side of the ball is terrible, which makes the talented side of the ball look worse, and it's just it doesn't work out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you'll have like a talented player or two, but they don't have much to work with. Oh, speaking of which, that does remind me. The Raiders extended Max Crosby. I think that's really
Oh yeah,
interesting.
I forgot that that happened. Good for them because a lot of teams wanted to trade for Crosby. They were hoping he would end up on the way out, but Crosby seems like a loyal guy.
Yeah,
He did not want to leave Vegas, so good for him. Good for Vegas.
I guess. Yeah, it seems like he's here to stay. I mean, like, well, I mean, they're paying him a lot, which is good, but
Yeah, didn't they set the
like,
market with him? I think I read that it was record breaking and then forgot to look into the
I
details.
think yeah, he's the highest paid non QB according to this headline. 3 years, 106 million.
Wow,
That's
would
like
that be highest paid
30.
for non quarterbacks? I feel like a
Uh,
receiver would have made more than that by
uh,
now.
yeah, I guess 106.5. Maybe that's 35 and a half.
That's what.
It
Yeah.
might be. I mean, it could be by margin. Yeah.
Have we really not? Have we
Like,
not gotten there with the quarterbacks? I mean, the receivers, I guess. I was thinking a guy like Jefferson
yeah,
might have made that much.
yeah. Justin Jefferson. Was it APY or whatever? What's the acronym for like I'll just say per year. 35. So
Okay,
he is up there, but it's just
so
he's just
he
like
is ahead of Jefferson. Oh
yeah.
man.
Which is
Okay.
crazy. Yeah,
I think that's. I mean, that's
yeah,
reasonable. Crosby's really good, and the Raiders are wise to pay him instead of letting him go, and especially since I mean, someone was going to set the market anyway, or reset the market at that position. And you got Aiden Hutchinson's going to be getting paid next year or the year after, I'd imagine. So he's probably going
yeah,
to reset the market, and then you're going to have all these other guys resetting the market, and that's just how it goes. It's sort of like how we've seen with the quarterback position the past few years. So I think that's a good decision by the Raiders. That's a lot of money, but you can afford it, so you might as well.
yeah. And I mean, like, you never know. Like, I do feel like there are some franchises like the Raiders, the Browns, the Bears, who's like it almost feels like they're never gonna be good. But you do feel a little sense of optimism for the Raiders because they have like Pete Carroll, they have Max Crosby. I guess the thing though is like they don't have a quarterback, which is a
Yeah,
problem. But
if they figure out a
I don't know.
good solution at quarterback, I can see it. I could see the Raiders getting there. The toughest thing for me is actually because I think they could figure out the quarterback position. The toughest thing for me is that they play in the AFC West. You know, they have to go through the
That's also
Chiefs,
true.
and now the Broncos and Chargers are seemingly playoff contenders every year. And it's like you have to compete
Yeah.
with three teams in your own division.
Dude, that like the coaches in that division, literally like
Yeah,
Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Pete Carroll, like that's actually nuts.
that's
And
probably the
Pete Carroll's
most
probably the
legendary it
worst,
could
right?
get.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have like multiple time Super Bowl champion Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh. It was really dang good.
I
Super Bowl
mean, and he just won a
champion
title at the
Sean.
college level for if we're gonna go with the championship level coaches.
That's true.
He
Yeah, I
qualifies.
mean,
He's been to a
you're
Super
right.
Bowl.
Yeah, like Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll were
Carroll won a
also
Super Bowl in
college
Seattle.
legends. Wasn't
Oh right,
it?
yeah, he
Yeah,
was at
that's true.
USC.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's as far as
so
coaching
all
goes.
of
That's
those
that's
are
such a
three of the coaches in that division have won a Super Bowl, right? Did Sean Payton win a
yeah.
Super Bowl? New
You're right.
Orleans,
Yeah. Jim Harbaugh's the one who hasn't. Right.
which is really weird because I feel like Jim Harbaugh is a better coach than Sean Payton and Pete Carroll right now.
Yeah, I think Jim's probably the second best coach in that division.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like I think by like accolades, it's probably like, Andy Reid and whoever, probably Sean Payton was better than Pete Carroll or
I'd give it to Pete Carroll because
historically.
of his college success too,
Oh yeah, I guess I'm thinking just
and I
NFL.
think
But
Pete
if
Carroll has
you're
been to
going back,
more Super Bowls than Sean Payton because he went to two. Payton only got one,
I
right?
think so I don't know. Yeah, I
Maybe.
always
I
gave
think
Sean Payton credit for like no, I think you're right.
I
I don't
never
know.
liked
I
Sean
always thought
Payton.
like him and okay, okay, that's fair enough.
I know
But
I'm
like
biased as a Panthers fan,
Andy
but I
Reid.
still don't like the guy. He just comes off the wrong way for me.
No, I get that. So well, yeah. I mean, I also did. I think I heard that like Sean Payton interviewed for us and like talked poorly about us, which was like like
He has always
not
come off as a
ideal.
smug jerk. Those are the words I would use. And I don't want to be mean, but that's just how he
Yeah.
comes off to me. Smug jerk.
Yeah. No, I see where you're coming from. But yeah, as far as like accolades, like career accolades go, yeah, you could say like Andy Reid, Pete Carroll, Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh. But probably like who's best in like 2025? It's probably like Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton for sure, and then Pete Carroll.
I
So
guess so. I guess that would be accurate. I don't like that Sean Payton is
yeah,
lowest
I
on the
think
list, though. I'm very interested to see how Pete
no,
Carroll
yeah,
does with the Raiders. Does he still have it? I
right.
mean,
I mean, no,
because there was
good.
talk that
He could
he
be
was
good.
just done in Seattle and he just wasn't a good coach anymore. But,
No, he's just back in the fray. Like
but
I
maybe it
think
was
he
just
just
the
the dude
Russ was
just
no
like
longer good.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. That could be true. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be
We'll
exciting
see
to
how
see
that
how the
happens.
season
I
plays
think
out.
the Raiders have a bright future if they make the right moves. Their defensive cornerstone is set for many years to come. They've got talent on offense with Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers is very underrated as a receiver. They still need to upgrade that position group, but Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers catching the ball, that's already a good 1-2 punch. They just need a running back and a quarterback. So I think they're gonna end up being the team that signs Sam Darnold. That's my prediction. And I think they could be a team to watch for the for who's going to get Ashton Genty. I think they're a candidate that should be watched for that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, if the Raiders get their hands on Ashton Genty, like that could be like really
That would be back to
interesting.
back
Yeah,
years
if they
of
can get
luxury picks for them.
who was it last year? I'm blanking.
It was
Was the
Brock
luxury
Bowers
pick?
last year, and people thought that was insane because
Oh,
they already had a young tight end, but they just took Bowers because he was there, and it's a can't miss talent.
yeah. Bowers was on one of my fantasy teams. I forget which one. Was he in? No, it wasn't. No, it was. Oh, it was the one league where I sucked at, but I had like Brock. Like everyone's trying to trade for Brock Bowers. I'm like, nah, I'm not just giving him away for like like Rondell Moore and like Demarcus something like that. Like,
Oh,
I'm not just
jeez,
giving it away
they
for
weren't even
nothing.
trying.
I could actually no, it wasn't that. I could probably actually like search my email history, like Brock Bowers, because like I'll get like the trade proposals.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a lot of trade proposals. Okay, let's react. Let's react to these trade proposals I got. So offered, I was offered to trade Brock Bowers and Jameson Williams for Dalton Schultz and Lad McConkey, which
no.
I don't know. Maybe at the time Lad McConkey hadn't like really come on. This was like early in the season. Um,
Even Jameson Williams
there's
was just as good as Lad McConkey in fantasy, or at least close
yeah,
enough. But
I was also I don't want to give away Jameson Williams. I want to see what I have. I was offered Brock Bowers. Sorry, well, I was offered to trade Brock Bowers for Jalen Waddle and Hunter Henry, which Jalen Waddle was like a wide receiver too, and like Hunter Henry, like not that. Um, I was offered Brock Bowers for Ramondre Stevenson straight up. Come on.
no,
Um, yeah, I was offered Brock Bowers and Tony Pollard for Jalen Waddle, Chuba Hubbard, and Hunter Henry. Um,
that's
I
more
was
intriguing
offered
because
to
Chuba
trade.
was really good,
I guess so. Yeah.
but not enough.
I was offered to trade Garrett Wilson and Brock Bowers for Jordan Mason, Tyler Conklin, and Lad McConkey. Um,
That only would have worked if Mason was starting all year.
right. I was offered to trade Brock Bowers for Jordan Mason, straight up. Um, and then yeah, that's it. So, and I just never budged. I was like, no, I'm
Those
not.
offers were all
As far as
terrible.
it was, and there was like a last place punishment, and it's like I'm not trying to get last. I'm still trying to like win. Like,
Right.
I'm just like right. So yeah, they were terrible offers. I didn't take them.
No kidding.
So, but yeah,
That's sad. But
yeah.
as it
Oh
pertains to
well.
the Raiders, they're happy with Brock Bowers, and I think they're gonna make a move for a running back either in the draft or Speaking of Jordan Mason, he was. I think the Niners gave him permission to seek a trade because he's not ever gonna get playing time
Oh
in San
yeah,
Francisco now, unless McCaffrey gets hurt again. Which why would he wait around if he can go start immediately? Raiders should be looking to trade
right.
for Jordan Mason. I that would be a good move.
Yeah, Jordan Mason actually could be intriguing because I mean based on like his production from like last season, he's a pretty good running back and you feel like he could
Yeah,
start like
but how much of that was
who's a
because
team.
it was in San Francisco? That would
Well,
be a
yeah,
question
but
teams
like,
have to ask.
right. But yeah, the production's the production and like if you feel like you can run like a similar scheme, like who are some teams who like need a running back? Like Steelers come to
Dallas.
mind.
Oh yeah, the Steel. They have
Dallas.
Najee
Sure.
Harris as a free agent, and I think they might want him back. I don't know. They've been linked to Nick Chubb actually, which is really interesting. I don't think they should go for Nick Chubb, but
Who's Steelers and Nick Chubb?
yeah.
Right.
So the Steelers
Um,
need a running back. That's fair. Who else needs a running back? I feel like there are fewer teams now than before. I could see Chicago going
yeah.
after a running back because Ben Johnson is their coach, and in Detroit he always had two good running backs. It seemed like. So you could see him wanting to add a running back with alongside DeAndre Swift in Chicago.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I'm trying to see. There aren't very many like articles and stuff about like predicting his next team. I guess that makes sense. He's less polarizing than like,
Yeah, who's Minnesota's running
Trey.
back? Do you know? Oh, Aaron
I think
Jones.
they're
Yeah,
trying
Aaron
to
Jones.
yeah, Aaron Jones. Yeah, yeah.
I could see
Right.
them wanting a young option behind Aaron Jones because he's not, for a running back, he's pretty old. I would say.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. Right. Uh, yeah, no, I'm just trying to think.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get he'll probably just go to like whoever like offers him most money slash starting position. I guess if he's getting
Yeah,
traded, that's not necessarily in his control, but
if he
he'll
wants to be
probably
an RB2 who isn't starting but gets carries, Carolina would be an option because we need a good RB2. Because I'm guessing that Jonathan Brooks
yeah.
is going to be out for the year, which really sucks because we used good pick on him and he just got injured immediately. So it's tough.
Wait, was he out last year and he's gonna be out
He
this
was
year?
he was out most of last year, returned, and then very soon into the season for him, he re-injured the same. I think it was the ACL, same ACL that he
Yeah.
tore in college. So he's likely gonna be out this season as well. But we've got Chuba to
Yeah, he had
start.
25. Okay, yeah, that's right. Chuba's been there for a while, right? I feel like he was like
Yeah, we drafted
drafted
him
like
when Matt Rule was the coach, and I think it was memed because his wife was the one who wanted him to draft Chuba, and so fans like to joke
oh
that his
really?
wife made a better draft pick than Matt Rule ever made.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
broke out
that's
last
funny.
year. He was not someone I expected to break out. I actually was ready to upgrade at running back, so I was very pleasantly surprised when he broke
Yeah.
out.
Right. Oh yeah, no, for sure. No, almost 1,200 yards. That's good. Yeah,
I
for
mean, in
sure.
that offense that struggled for most of the year or early in the year at least, that's pretty happy.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Just take what you can get. Yep.
Yeah, I guess there aren't too many obvious teams. Oh, Denver. Denver could use a running back upgrade. I don't even know who their starter is at
Yeah.
this point. I think they've just been stuck with a committee at this point in time. Um,
Yeah, it's like Denver Broncos depth chart. Yeah,
they
they
still
yeah,
have
I
Javante.
couldn't even like they do have Javante. Oh, it's Javante and like someone else.
McLaughlin is there, and
McLaughlin?
Estime is there. I feel like there was someone else, but
Yeah.
I'm blanking.
Miller Batty, whoever that is. I thought there was someone like a clear maybe that was last year when they had like 2023 Denver Broncos.
I think
I
they had
thought
Melvin
they
Gordon.
had like
Yeah, they had Melvin Gordon when they had Russ.
I'm definitely not thinking of him. Wait, who am I thinking of? It was maybe it's Samjay Piran I was thinking about.
Oh, yeah, he was there at some point.
Javante, Samjay, I think it was Samjay. 2024, they had Javante, Jaleel. Yeah, no one else I really recognize. So
Yeah, so that's a running back room that needs an upgrade. And we mentioned them briefly last night as a receiver needy team as well. And they've got Cortland Sutton, and
right.
I mean he's their best receiver. I'm pretty sure.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Cortland Sutton, yeah, for sure.
They're also a
Yep.
team that needs a
Yeah,
tight
it's
end, so they just need offensive talent,
yeah, they're like
really.
offense like just isn't like on paper, they're not that good on offense. And it's kind of crazy that
Yeah,
they like, you know, did
they had
really well as a
lots of
team.
short passes and made life very easy for Bo Nix. Um, but Bo Nix is
Right.
probably better than some people who I'm not going to name myself because I don't feel like it, but some people refuse to give him credit. So not
Yeah.
me. I gave
Um,
him all the credit, obviously.
yeah,
Anyway,
I got you.
so no, they need to upgrade. They need upgrades at running back. Um, I'd say Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I know they have two running backs on their roster that they seem to like with Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby, but also neither of them are really like that good. It seems like, so I don't think they won't make a
Yeah.
move, but they probably should figure out their future at running back.
Yeah, you know you're at like peak football content when it's like 11:30 p.m. and you're talking about where does Jordan Mason go? Like
I mean,
that's actually crazy.
he's good, so at least it's not some
Yeah, no,
total
that's
random.
true. He should contribute for someone. Like, he should get playing time for sure while he still can.
I'm guessing it's
But
gonna
like
happen
Jordan
after
Mason,
the draft. It's gonna be whichever team misses out on the top running back prospects is gonna look into trading for Jordan Mason. Because I mean, I think teams would rather have Ashton Genty or the running back from North Carolina is also really liked by NFL scouts. Don't remember his name, but
mhm,
those two
yeah,
guys are supposed to be good.
yep, for sure, for sure. Um, yeah, no, it's great. Hate to have to be the one to do this, but probably gotta wrap things up
No, it's
for
getting late. We
tonight.
gotta end at some point. So
Yeah, that's true. But no, this was good, and I think we should try to do this at least once a week, if not more.
oh,
But
absolutely. We might need to
yeah,
see if there's an earlier time that'll work. Might need to talk in the club and see if anyone would be interested in an
yeah, no,
earlier
I'll
time because I
try
know
to
that's
like
difficult
see
to
if there's
do.
like right. No, yeah, I'll try to see if there's like a day. Oh, I didn't leave it. Did I? No, I think I'm still there. Yeah. Um, try to see if there's a day I can do like a little earlier, like a couple hours earlier, and then we can just like sort of do that. Hopefully, more people can join. But yeah, no, this was fun. I mean, regardless, it's always fun
Oh
to
man,
talk
it's gonna be
football.
more fun next week. Free agency starts, I think, in 6 days. So we're gonna see
I
what our
think
teams
so.
do.
Yeah,
It's gonna be very
yeah. No, that'll
telling.
be yeah. Free agency is coming. Yeah, we'll have like a whole. I don't know when our next episode will be. Like before, I guess it would be potentially. Yeah, no, it's coming up. That's actually crazy. Like you just never know. Like I don't know. Like Chris Godwin signs with the Bills or something. You just never know
That
what
would make
happens.
sense.
But that actually would make sense. That'd actually be sick. Josh
I
Allen
want
has
to I
like
want
a
to know which big
dependable.
name receiver goes to the Patriots. Someone's gonna go to the Patriots for money, and we're gonna hear a lot about it from Sox. And yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to our fake, but super fan.
our number
But
two fan.
our number
He's
two.
not here to
It
dispute
doesn't.
it.
It's
Okay,
not that. Yeah, that's true.
it's not that deep, guys. It's okay. It's not. It's not that deep. We appreciate all of
Socks. If
our
you like
viewers.
happen to be like watching this part of our stream, we'll consider making you like a 1B. But you have to really be a super fan to be watching, like rewatching this stream. You see what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Because at this point, we're just dragging it out. I mean, this isn't even
Yeah, for
NFL.
sure.
It legit NFL content right now. We're just talking about our super fans. It's funny. They'll appreciate it though. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, all right. Football for Fun fans, thank you all so much for. Well, I guess there's not really anyone to thank necessarily, but yeah,
Thank
thank you all
anyone
for
who is
being
here to
here.
watch. Thank you for showing up. Thank you anyone who is watching this after it ended. You know, a week from now, a month from now, whenever you're watching this. Thank you. We appreciate it. And hopefully we will catch you live next time.
Yep, even if it is 2000 like 62 and you're using this for your history class, just shout out to you.
Look,
Using
if we
this for
made it into
your
somebody's history class in 2062, I'll take it. That means we did something right. Or something really
for
wrong, I
sure. No,
guess.
yeah, probably. Well, no, I'm not saying, but that it probably would be the case if that
Probably.
were.
Probably something wrong.
Yeah,
Wow,
we're
okay.
probably gonna do something wrong. That would
The
not
worst
be
predictions
ideal.
of all
All right.
time. How about that?
Yeah. Imagine something actually does happen. All
That'd be
right,
wild.
football for fun, family. We'll see you for the next one, and yeah,
Yep, take care,
bye.
everybody. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time.